Let's talk about maintenance elements. So we're going to cover some of the elements that we're going to use in maintenance of robotic systems. So what is maintenance? It's the process of preserving something, like keeping something in the adequate state for it to perform a task. Okay. Well, there are mainly three types of maintenance. There are preventive, predictive, and corrective. So what is preventive maintenance? Well, it's also known as preventative maintenance. So both are possible. And the idea of this one is that we are going to perform this kind of maintenance on a piece of equipment to reduce the probability of this object failing. Okay, that's one of the elements, and we do it on a regular basis. So we usually have a schedule on when to perform this kind of maintenance. The idea is that it's performed while the equipment is still working, so it doesn't break down unexpectedly. It's like the maintenance we give a cars every 5, 10, or 15,000 kilometers, where you change things like the air filter, oil filter, all of those things, so you make sure that the car will work just fine. And from in given periods of time, you have to perform more fixes, like changing the distribution belt, something like that, because you know that they have fulfilled their duty cycle and they need to be changed to prevent a breakdown of the car. So there are different types of preventive maintenance. One is time-based preventive maintenance, like the example that I told you in a car. So what happens here, if you have a delivery company, it's a bad idea that you have vans that break down. So the idea is that you perform inspections of critical pieces of the equipment, uh, especially if they can impact the production if they break down. So you have a schedule to review these ones and perform the maintenance. There's other known as usage-based preventive maintenance, that is like, for example, in the car. Yeah, so this is a different approximation, a different approach. In this case, you want to make sure that your float is working, and they do a lot of work all the time. But in this case, what you have is like in a regular personal car, you have a scheduled service every 10,000 kilometers. So they can be applied, these two types can be applied depending on the philosophy or situation that you have. Now let's talk about predictive maintenance. This one is one that uses condition monitoring tools, like making periodical reviews on the equipment. You have sensors, you have control systems, and you use these tools to detect possible defects and fix them before they break. Okay, so you have, let's say, a distribution band in a factory that you use to distribute elements to different parts of a process, or a warehouse like Amazon, where they have these huge vans that they use to transport packets from one end to another. So what you do is you review different parts of the equipment periodically to identify if there are possible defects, and if you identify one situation, like one sensor it's not properly attached, or you detect the wearing of one part, you fix them before they break. So what it's going to do here is that it's going to be less frequent than preventive, because you don't have to do it, let's say, every month, but you are going to make revisions, and once you detect a situation where you need to make the maintenance, you are going to perform it. I mean, you need to monitor the situation, but intervening in the system is not going to be as often as with a preventive. So this will keep costs down. It will also prevent unplanned corrective maintenance. Okay, so that's the thing about predictive maintenance. So There's a strategy for this, and what it does is that it uses a condition monitoring equipment to evaluate the performance. Like, it can be sensors or it can be a person. There are different things, and it relies on a strategy known as condition-based maintenance, where you have, let's say, documentation of how a belt should look in order to change it. So maybe you made a revision in the month number 1. So you check and you see that the belt is in correct conditions. So you wait another month, and the belt continues. Then on the 3rd month, you notice that there's wearing on the belt. So you compare it with the manual, but that wearing is still under conditions to work, so you keep it. And on the 4th month, you detect that you have reached the point according to manual where you have to change the belt. So maybe before with preventive maintenance, you change the belt every 2 months. Now you reduce the number of times that you had to change the belt to only 1 every 4 months instead 2. So it monitors the condition of the asset to decide when the maintenance needs to be done. There are several examples like vibration analysis that happens when we have rotating equipment. So we have engines, motors, these kinds of things that create vibrations, and these vibrations can affect. Infrared, for example, to check temperature, ultrasonic to see how the inner part of an object is, or to detect corrosion in the inner part of a machine. Acoustic, to detect leaks. Oil analysis to see if the oil is in the proper conditions or it needs to be changed in hydraulic systems, for instance. We have electrical to check the readings of current to see if you are working under the proper conditions. Operational performance to see if they are doing what they were supposed to do under the limits that you have set up in the process, etc. Now let's go to corrective maintenance. In this case, what we have is a task that corrects a problem and make it go back to work properly. Okay, they can be both planned or unplanned, and this is important because sometimes we think that we do perform corrective maintenance when something breaks down, and we think that it's took us by surprise. But there are situations where we can plan this type of maintenance. So where are the situations where we are going to apply this type of maintenance? When an issue is detected through condition monitoring, when a routine inspection uncovers a potential fault, or when a piece of equipment breaks down. So what happens with corrective maintenance? There's a strategy called as run to failure. And this is when you let something break down. That sounds weird, but it's a possibility that if you have the sign, it works. And this is when you are going to repair or replace something. But there's one limitation. It works with non-critical assets that can be easily and cheaply repaired or replaced. Okay? Or where you have systems that have redundancies, where you have two backups, so if one breaks, you have one of the backups to fix what's going on or give support to the system. Yep, so that's one type, that's a possibility. Also, when it's performed as part of preventive maintenance or condition-based monitoring. So, what happens, maybe they haven't broken, but you detect a problem, so you can schedule a moment to fix it. Okay, so this is kind of it has a really high resemblance to predictive maintenance. And then we have unplanned corrective maintenance. So you have preventive maintenance, but something breaks down. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to fix that thing immediately or a later date, depending on the tools, parts, and personnel. So this is one of the things that can create problems and make the maintenance quite expensive, because if you need to get a piece that you didn't have in stock and you have to buy it but you need it urgently, you need to pay a premium to get it delivered, and that's a problem. The other is when it breaks down out of the blue. So no planned maintenance, so you have to fix it as it goes. So these are the types of corrective maintenance that we have. Now we are going to use different tools to work with the maintenance. Okay. Among these tools we have diagrams like flow diagram, Gantt diagram, Ishikawa diagram or fishbone diagram, and block diagrams. Why is that? Well, flow diagrams or flow charts, most commonly known, are diagrams that are going to show us the direction of a process. Okay, they are going to tell us the relations in a system and what are we going to do, how are we going to proceed. This is like the manual that we are going to use to make maintenance, and this is really important. Okay, because it will let us know, like step by step, what's the procedure we have to follow to perform maintenance. Now we have a Gantt diagram. So in this case, what it does is it schedules well, it's going to be time-based. What is that? That it will show us activities that are going to be performed in relation with the time. So for example, we can have the maintenance program for the following months to see what machines we are going to cover, what processes we are going to review, how much time we have, in what times we are going to perform these types of maintenance, etc. Then we have the Ishikawa diagram, and this is a diagram that shows causes of an event, and it's to develop one of the things that we are going to consider when having a process. Okay, it has to do mainly with control situations, but one of the important things that it determines which resources are required at specific times. So we can adapt this type of diagram to maintenance by working with the resources that are required at specific times when we are giving maintenance to the production line. So we are going to gather with people from production that they know how the machinery works. So they are going to tell us, we have this kind of machine does this. Also we have manuals and assistance from the manufacturer of the machines. And with all of this information in an Ishikawa diagram, we can see what things we are going to require to perform a maintenance. Then we have a block diagram. This is a more general diagram where we show the parts or functions, and they are presented in blocks like these ones, and they are connected to other blocks that show the relation. They are using hardware design, electronic design, in the design process of something to see what are the relations and the parts that we have in the process. So this is really helpful as a first stage to identify maintenance or to work with maintenance. So by the way, the block diagram maintenance schematic, it's one like in this example, one where we have the different parts of maintenance policies. What we have, for example, in this case, we have online and offline. Offline means how we're going to what approaches we're going to take to maintenance, and if it's online, for example, time-based. We are going to design something for the maintenance, if it's going to be a routine, predictive, the different relations that we have between the steps, the stages, better said. So that's it for this video. See you in the next one.